Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I've got a bit of a niche video subject that I want to discuss with you about, and that's just giving some broad general advice about how and where to start a crypto company. So first, why would you be interested in starting a crypto company? Well, if you weren't interested before, maybe I can give you some of the dot points of why this is actually a good idea. When I made this channel, I promised myself that I wouldn't become a disher out of shitcoin shilling and degeneracy. I'm really passionate about crypto, as you can tell, and I'm really hoping that more people can get involved in this space and actually become part of the overall ecosystem and try and build something for it for themselves. And it's a much better way of making money than most ways you see online. When you see people talking about how to make $100 a day, $1,000 a day in crypto, it's always some stupid crap. So I want to give you I want to encourage you to actually try and get involved and think about little niches that you can get involved in so you can make some money. So why do you need to form a company slash LLC? Now, I want you to think about, if you've already got something in mind, do you really need to start an LLC? Now, this is important if you require access to the TradFi system. Now, if you're thinking about starting some crypto company in, say, Web3, like a dApp, or maybe you want to start a crypto wallet, all your profits are going to be in crypto, right? So imagine like you're charging like a fee, for someone to use your dApp or to someone to use your DEX or something like that, right? So you're getting all paid in WETH or ETH or something like that. If that's the case, it's not certain that you need to be involved with the traditional finance system, right? If you're happy being paid, if you're perfectly happy being paid in crypto, there's no need to dig yourself a hole and get involved in the traditional finance system where you're going to be taxed and regulated. If you're happy just getting crypto, then that's completely fine. You don't need to get an LLC. I think it's just going to cause you problems. However, if you need to turn that crypto into fiat, that's when you're going to need to start an LLC, because if you're making all this money in crypto and you're going to be pulling it out into fiat, you're going to need a bank to do that, and you're going to need to start paying tax. And you want to think about where you can pay tax, where's the best place with the best tax laws, and where's a place that will best facilitate my business, right? So most countries in the world are not very crypto friendly in regards to doing some kind of business, right? So if you were to be pulling out all this money from some crypto exchange every week, every month, or whatever, and you would have filed your taxes and say, hey, like, I made this from some crypto activity, and you did all that. Like, I don't know exactly what's going to happen in your particular case with your particular country, but depending on where you are, it's probably not going to be for the best, So I'm from Australia. The laws are very stringent there, and it's just a pain in the butt, especially when it comes to banks. So you don't want to have to deal with them. You want to be going to a place in which it's easier. And what's awesome about in the internet age, there's all these different countries that I'm going to bring up that are really good to start crypto businesses. You don't actually have to go there. You can do these things online. There are these third-party law firms that provide like end-to-end start to management of these crypto companies. And I'm going to list them off and give you some rough pricing about what to expect. And yeah, now the first thing, hang on a sec. So I want to give some examples of different kinds of crypto companies and what their needs would be. So let's just say the first example that I want to bring up is a crypto exchange, right? Now, let's just say you're a centralized fiat crypto exchange where, you are going to provide banking details to different customers so they can send funds to you. You're going to want to be in a jurisdiction that has access to the most amount of customers. So you've got America and you've got Europe. To be honest, I'm not really as familiar with the American banking system, and I just never really hear it being brought up as much. But the reason why I want to talk about Europe is because they've got this thing called SEPA. So if you're a European, you know what that is. SEPA It's an interconnected banking network that covers all of the EU, maybe some other European countries. But basically, it allows all the banks within this wider SEPA network to be able to send funds either instantly or within 24 hours. So it kind of acts as if it was one country. And this is really good because if you are able to provide your customers with SEPA, they'll be able to pay you instantaneously, which is really what you want because your product essentially is money in a sense. Well, you're selling Bitcoin, but you want to provide the best ease of access for your customers. And if they can have their funds, on your platform within 24 hours, then that's really good. You're going to be beating out the competition that, where they're going to have to wait 3 to 5 days or whatever, right? The faster and the more convenient, the more business that you can have access to. So SEPA is really good. Now, not all of Europe, not all European countries have really good laws when it comes to crypto. Not all countries are the best. Typically, you'd want to avoid Western Europe. I'm not saying because you can't do it there. I know Ireland's generally good, Cyprus, Malta, they can be good. It's just that they're considered premium options, and that's just going to cost you a lot more money. So if I'm to break it down by cost, there's a few recommendations that I want to give. The first one is Lithuania and Estonia. Lithuania and Estonia is good because the startup cost is not that much, and it's going to give you access to the SEPA banking network. The only problem with them that I don't like is the fact that you need to deposit 120k euros into a bank account. Now, if you don't have to, you can use it. It's your money and stuff like that. It's not like it goes into some special account where you won't get it back for a year. It's something like that. It's still your money, but you have to deposit it. And this is something that I don't like because, at the end of the day, that is still, that's an expense. That's an expense you could do without. So my next recommendation, let me pull this up here, get some illustration going. So I remember when I was first looking into this, Lithuania and Estonia were my first two options, but I just found that this 120k thing was just quite unreasonable. I just didn't think that was necessary. So my second one was actually Poland because I was talking to a law firm and they said that Poland and also I think Czech Republic, these were two really good options. Poland was good because it provides a similar thing to what I'd be getting out of Lithuania. The startup costs are fairly low. And I'll give you like a rough ballpark figure. To get everything from like the various licenses, like you need something called an MSO, I forget what it stands for, and a VASP. These are related to anti-money laundering laws, stuff like that. To have a law firm take you through all that process, do everything for you, and actually get you to the point where you can actually start talking to banks and setting up relationships and stuff like that. That can cost anywhere from 3k euros to 6k euros. And most importantly, you don't require it's not required of you to have a deposit, some big deposit. I don't know if you need any deposit, but you certainly don't need 120k. I don't really think you need any. The only downside, if there is any, just from talking to people, is that there aren't a lot of crypto-friendly banks. And I know no bank is crypto-friendly. It's not like there's any bank that advertises, we accept, crypto this, but they're just less likely to, a crypto-friendly bank, in my opinion, is just one that is less likely to have a problem with you if you were engaging in this kind of activity, right? So if you were to go speak with a bank manager and say, hey, I'm doing this, are they likely to accept your business, right? So from what I understand, there's just less banks in Poland that are willing to do this. But I'm not saying, but I haven't been there in person. I can't confirm this. This is just from what I've heard. And a similar thing is in Czech Republic. So there's another option as well, and that's Georgia. Now, Georgia is not part of, some people would say it wouldn't be part of Europe, right? But it's about as part of Europe as Russia is. As far as I know, they're in the Eurovision contest, so that's the geographical standard. But anyway, it's not part of the EU and it's not part of the SEPA network. But I know Georgia, it's come up on the map for me because I'm in the peer-to-peer world, peer-to-peer crypto trading. And I have to say a lot of the people that I deal with are actually in Georgia. I'm not saying they're actually from Georgia, but they're people around the world that have set up LLCs in Georgia, and so they've got very low costs. They've got a lot of good laws that allow for this kind of thing to take place. I think they have some relatively crypto-friendly banks. Now, the downside is they don't have access to the SEPA network, right? So if someone was to send you a bank transfer, I mean, who knows, it could take anywhere from 48 hours to, I don't know, 72 hours. It's not the best, but what I see people that with LLCs in Georgia do is they get like Revolut, Wise, Payoneer. They get these online banks and they connect them up to their Georgian account. So they'll have someone, if they want to buy crypto from them, they'll say it's someone in Germany, or it doesn't even have to be Germany, it can be anywhere around the world. They'll send funds to this seller's Revolut account, Wise account, whatever, and that is can be done, I think, within 24 hours max. I mean, oftentimes it can be much faster depending on the payment method in like TransferWise, whatever. Like if it's a Wise to Wise transaction, that it's instant. Revolut to Revolut, instant, right? But if it's someone paying from their bank to Revolut, it can be 24 hours. And then this person can then send, like the seller in Georgia, right, can then send the funds from Revolut or Wise to their bank account, and they're off to the races, right? So that's another way of getting around it. And it's just, yeah, from what I understand, it's just very easy and cheap to do this kind of stuff. It's far less stringent than Lithuania, Poland, Estonia, but it doesn't get access to the SEPA network. So that's Europe. I want to talk about Hong Kong now. So Hong Kong, Dubai, and Singapore are kind of seen, or at least in my eyes, as like the capitals of the crypto world. A lot of people that get really big in crypto end up in one of these locations, and there's a few reasons why. Like, so these places, even regardless of crypto, are already financial capitals of the world, right? And being very small countries with a very low population, their banking sector is far more reliant on international finance rather than domestic finance. And being that tapped in, they can very quickly receive payments from all around the world. So Hong Kong, a lot of payments internationally are going to go through the SWIFT system. And you're looking at payments arriving within from 24 to 48 hours. And 48 hours would be for countries that are probably... I'm thinking like if you're from Zimbabwe, if you wanted to send funds to Hong Kong, maybe it could arrive in 24 hours. But if you're from like, New York or Chicago or from London, sending funds to Hong Kong could be much less than 24 hours. It could arrive in 12 hours for all I know. And a similar thing is with Dubai and Singapore. So these are really good for international payments. I mentioned Europe first because it's really good if you're focused on, if you want to like target a specific market and get the most out of it. Europe is good because payments can be instant because of the SEPA network. But if you're focused on the globe, like as in the entire world and not just a particular jurisdiction, this is where Hong Kong, Dubai, and Singapore come in, because you can accept payments from anywhere in the world, and it's probably going to be the fastest anywhere in the world. The downsides are that it's just very expensive to start up, like these third-party firms that I talk about. Frequently, many of them will be charging you, anywhere from like 20,000 US dollars and up. I'm sure there are some that are maybe cheaper. You'd really have to shop around. But it's not typically the cheapest, and that's not including a bank deposit fee, right? So, the startup fees to get all of the various licenses, VASP, that's one of them. That's going to cost up to $20,000, and then you're going to have to put in like another $5,000, maybe $10,000 to deposit into a bank. And then most importantly, there are going to be a lot of fees required to maintain your LLC, right? So the law firm that you're working at, they're going to do accounting things for you. Maybe they have to employ some kind of AML figure. I don't know, like someone has to be employed at your company to check that it's compliant. So you have to pay wages for someone, and it's probably going to be someone in Hong Kong where the wages are high. These aren't budget options. These are the places you'd want to go if you're looking to go to the very top. And So for some examples of where some examples that I want to think of, some crypto companies in which going to Hong Kong, Dubai, or Singapore would be really good, would say maybe like an OTC business where someone is sending you significant amounts of money. So this is important first because you want to just, it's a bit of a branding thing, right? So if you've got a bank in Hong Kong, Singapore, or Dubai, or whatever, the person can be comfortable sending hundreds of thousands or perhaps millions of dollars to you and not be worried. Whereas if you're trying to get them to send funds, to some Revolut account based in Georgia, that's a bit of a problem. So when it comes to certain like high-level financings where you're dealing with huge sums of money, reputation is very important. And, you're not going to have to worry about funds being lost in the banking system and stuff like that. And if you did want to start like a large, exchange, so if you wanted to do some kind of exchange business, going to Hong Kong is good if you are already loaded. Maybe you've got like just a lot of capital on hand, or you've got loans, whatever, and you want to go to the very top. You want to become big. Hong Kong is good for that. It's just very, very reliable, and that's basically what you're getting. So I want to flip back to the budget options and talk about something else, and that's Seychelles, and by extension as well, some of these Caribbean islands that I'm sure you're aware of. Most of them are tax havens. You've got the British Virgin Islands, Antigua and Barbuda, Saint Lucia, and of course you've got the Cayman Islands. So these places are really good if you just are looking for a home for your crypto company. So if you're not really focused specifically on banking, like what I mean is like I gave you some examples before of places that are really good to set up for banking infrastructure, right? But let's just say you need a home for your company, and it's not something you don't need, like, to receive timely payments from customers internationally. Seychelles is a really good place for that. So remember I gave you an example of, like, imagine you're some like Web3 provider. You provide some kind of DApp. You've got some DEX, you've got you cited some crypto or something like that, and you're making money in crypto terms. But at the same time, you still need, a man doesn't live off crypto alone. If you want to turn that Bitcoin or whatever you're making into fiat currency, and you don't mind potentially waiting 3 to 5 days for your funds to arrive, then this is a great place to set up, right? Now, the problem with Seychelles and places like in the Caribbean is that they don't have like really good banking infrastructure, say, compared to Hong Kong, right? So if you wanted to accept like a SWIFT transfer from another country, a bank account, it could take 3 to 5 days for that to arrive. Possibly more. I don't know. Maybe even your bank blocks that transaction. The international bank blocks the transaction to Seychelles because it's a reputational risk, something like that. But if you're willing to deal with those kinds of hurdles, then what you could get is a very comfortable situation where the laws are extremely lax. It's extremely cheap to set up. You don't actually have to go there. There are many third-party law firms that can help you deal with these things in Seychelles. In fact, I imagine that Seychelles, if you were to go there, there's probably like a law practice like on every block. So there are a lot of people that like to get it set up in Seychelles, simply because they're looking for a way to cash out their crypto. But it's more convenient to do that in a place where the jurisdiction is very easygoing for this stuff, as opposed to, say, other countries, right? And as far as I know, I think the tax is not even worth mentioning. It's a very low amount, if any. And I think it's a good option for that. And let's just say you did want to accept a lot of international payments, and you wanted to start an exchange, right? I know there are a number of large exchanges that are actually based in Seychelles, but what they've had to do is they've set up banking in a number of countries. Like, so they've got banking in Europe, they've got banking in Hong Kong or wherever, and then when they receive funds to those to that exchange, to those international banks, then they'll send it over to Seychelles, and that'll be like money that they make, like their personal, like the money that the company actually makes, right? And that's money that they can withdraw to themselves. So yeah, I'm not sure if there's anything else to talk about. Nothing that comes to mind. If you're interested in asking me questions about this kind of thing, you can feel free to leave me a comment, and I'll get back to you. And if you want to check out some of the referral links in the description below, I'd really appreciate that. You can buy crypto without KYC using peer-to-peer cryptocurrency exchanges like local CoinSwap and HODL. And yeah, so check that out, and I'll see you next time.